Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. It is the Heights of Wuthering on this episode. We got 1939's Wuthering Heights by William Wyler, 1970's Wuthering Heights by Robert West, 1992's Wuthering Heights by Peter Kosminski, and finally, newly released now in theaters, Wuthering Heights by Emerald Fennell. So, let's go crazy. Let's get Vincent Daly in the room, hear what he has to say about all these adaptations. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Boy, Vincent Daly, how are we doing over there?
It's a wuthering week.
Woo, we are wuthering, I'll tell you. Wuthering on the vine, more like it. My God, hanging on by my fingertips on this episode. Well, I tried my best. We were talking right before we clicked play here, before we started recording. I tried my darnest to watch as much as I could. I'm a very, very busy week.
Also, a lot of period pieces. I mean, just
I can do period pieces.
Sure, but like...
You're not the period piece guy. I'm the period piece guy.
Right, but when you think of period pieces as like slow costume dramas, I mean, this is kind of, this is it.
This is it. Good old Emily Bronte. Famous, I don't know, there was like 2 or 3 of the sisters that were famous
3
writers? Yeah.
Yes. It's, let me go to my notes here. It's Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, and Anne Bronte.
All right, so we've got M, and book came out in 1847, I believe.
Yep.
We get our first adaptation that we're covering in 1939, and then we're jumping all the way to 2026. So we are covering Wuthering Heights.
Yep. A lot to unpack here. As far as like the summaries in each of these go, the good thing is the 39 one kind of lays the groundwork in a good way. And then basically the summary in each of the ones to follow will just be kind of highlighting some differences because it is ultimately the same story. Even in the most drastic case of our new one with Emerald Fennell, it is... there's differences to highlight in how it changes the story. Ultimately, it's still the same.
It is kind of the story. It is the story. Okay, so first, how was your week?
I thought...
You enjoyed yourself?
I did enjoy myself. One, I thought these were easy watches. If anything, because they were all the same movie, I was just like, oh, okay, they did that different,
Were you able to keep engaged? Watching order, how did you watch?
Oh, all chronological.
Very good.
Yeah, from 39. And
very good.
Yeah, probably the way to go if anyone's kind of reading along, watching along this week.
Were you able to stay focused? So by the time you're on the 1992 one... Are you checking your phone a little bit more?
No.
I
was engaged. Okay. I actually, in the 1970s one, I think I was doing some dishes. But, just because that was so wild. But yeah, no, I think this was... I got into this week in the sense that I am a nerd, and I can kind of get behind... getting nerdy around a specific piece of like a story or something like that. So it really became fascinating to me of just like how many and untangling how many different adaptations there were, why they make different choices, why fans don't like any of them, I got a few alternate titles for today's episode. I have Werther's Original Heights.
That's good. That's really good, actually.
I was dying at that.
I bet you were. Yeah.
That credit goes to producer Max for that, but I really like Werther's Original Heights. Also, I can't believe it's not Bronte.
That's my favorite. That's
all right.
it.
Okay, good.
I can't believe it's not Bronte.
I wrote that because despite there being like nearly a dozen adaptations of this goddamn story.
A dozen? No.
Oh.
Well over 30.
Really?
Between TV and movie, there's over 30 adaptations.
Interesting.
Of this f***ing book.
Right. I think you mean classic literature. I mean, fans are just never happy with any of them.
Now, you can understand. So, I mean, we both did our research on this.
Yeah.
None of them, most of them are half the book. Most of them are covering 16 of the 32 chapters.
Yes.
Because there's a big jump and there's a change in the story, basically.
Yes. It goes from romance to kind of revenge thriller. And I would say most of them in the sense that one stands out. There's a TV series with Tom Hardy that is apparently has just the runway to explore the story for that long.
Yes.
And luckily, one of them this week as well hits that note of just at least trying to tackle the full story of it. But
you know what's funny?
It just blew my mind.
So, yeah, it's a famous story. People read it in school, this book and all that. I never read it. The funny thing is, it's if you really want to go crazy, this is a part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Film adaptation.
Absolutely. And I mean, maybe there's some good restraint on Emerald Fennell because, like, in the age of, like, Wicked Part 1 and Part 2, I mean, like, they really just...
I mean, Valentine's Day 26, Valentine's Day 27.
Right.
You could see a studio...
Absolutely.
Ears perking up. But it is a big risk because it's early in the year. How are the theaters going to play?
Yeah.
And also... You know, it is the risk of if you fail on the first one and that whole deal. But
for sure.
Yes, readers, as you said,
just
are
upset
not happy with it.
It's crazy, and it just blew my mind. Again, I found enjoyment of this, and folks, if you ever do watch along with these type of kind of conceptual episodes. It was an interesting thing to tackle because it was an untangling of a lot of decisions and production choices and story decisions, writing decisions that became interesting to me because I really wasn't that interested in the romance piece or the gothic theming of the story. As for what's left out, I actually don't have close to 30. I have a few that I do want to point out though. Movie wise, we're missing a 1957 adaptation. Apparently a Japanese production from 88.
There's a Japanese one.
Apparently heavily praised for some reason. I don't know.
Well,
it's all spoken in Japanese.
We'll save it for next year. We'll watch this next year.
Yeah, right.
We could do this. You know how we do our studies? It's every year. We get an entire week dedicated to Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, for real. 2 TV movies are big standouts. There's a 1998 one. There's a 2012 one that are, again... It's weird. The praise among book fans really overtakes what the film critique of these movies are. All of them are kind of pigeonholed in different ways. That 2012 one is praised pretty highly, and the 1998 one, but they are kind of TV movies. Most notably, though, like I said, there is a TV miniseries with Tom Hardy that is really just lauded as the most book accurate, and I think
that does make sense.
Yeah, it just having the runway to create the shifts in the story and knowing the story now. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense now.
Okay, so you enjoyed yourself. Let me say this. I'll just say this in the beginning because I think it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
1939, an hour and 44 minutes. 1970, an hour and 44 minutes. 1992, an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
The new one, 2 hours and 16 minutes. And this is the one where we're only covering half the book. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting kind of when we do cover the new one then, because that is substantial.
Absolutely.
That is a half an hour more than all the other 3.
And, covers less, condenses certain aspects of the romance, extends certain aspects of the romance. There's a lot there. And that 1992 version does tackle the full book. And again, fans are,
the 92 one.
The 92 one, the refines. So that's still doing that in the under 2 hours runtime? I mean, wild.
Yeah. It is a lot to cover. My understanding, too, it's not the easiest read as well.
Okay.
So it's interesting because it also... Because she writes it from the perspective of multiple people. There's multiple people at times during the novel that are the ones actually telling the story. And each of the characters have their own agendas of how they wish to tell the story.
Sure. How jealousy swirls.
So, it also maybe not the easiest thing to adapt. But I can't wait to get... You probably did some of that as far as... What more so people... I didn't go into too much of the crowd and their reactions to it. I was just trying to understand a little bit the book a little bit, how this has been adapted so many times. Any other opening notes for you, V?
No, just on that, springboarding off of that, it is kind of for the birds. I mean, like, if you're attached to the books about this, in a way that It's going to these adaptations are never going to outlive the book. One, it's kind of highlighted what we've talked about in previous weeks of just like maybe that's not the way to watch film adaptations because there's always going to be some sort of like preference, your own voice, your own how you're comprehending the story. But as well, on top of that, I think a lot of these exist as companion pieces to, if you enjoyed the novel, maybe just see this interpretation because it's not all cut and dry, whether it be the perspective of characters or how jealousy swirls that perspective and whatnot. So
I think with the whole adaptation thing, read it, don't read it, it really goes per project. I think if I oftentimes read the book first, I wouldn't be surprised if I would be somebody often disappointed with the film adaptation.
Right.
I think there's a lot of other people, though, that do the adaptations, love or read the books, love the movies. I do think it's per project. This one in particular, we're aided by not have read it.
Yes.
Not
arm's length.
Zero baggage. Just give it to us because we actually don't care about the story.
And that's where it was fascinating to watch all these this week because I was just like, oh, that one does that kind of nice. That one doesn't do that.
Right.
That
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just kind of like I had no attachment to these. I just threw these on. They were under 2 hours, you know?
You and I finally direct a film together and we do our own adaptation of Wuthering Heights.
I was going to say the biggest ego I have is saying like, I could probably squeeze out a good Wuthering Heights. You know? I really do think I could, but yeah, that's besides.
Okay, I can't believe it's not Bronte. Here we go. I think I have to start the episode title with that.
I'm glad
on the
you like
podcast,
that.
on the app. So, all right, 1930.
I'm also upset Werther's Original Heights didn't
that was
hit.
good.
I think that's gold.
I liked it. 1939, William Wyler. We have a big actor in this one. You go ahead. I watched 90% of this film.
Yeah, oh, cool. I'm cool with you, being checked out on these. I know,
I'm not checked out. I was
Right.
I was engaged. I really did want to watch all of them, except
Right.
for maybe 1971. I just had a feeling about it.
Yep.
Anyway, no. All right, set it up, get into it, and I'll chip in as much as possible.
Sure. Well, directed by the powerhouse William Wyler. Making this much earlier in his career, but eventually Wyler goes on to make some bona fide classics. I'm talking The Best Years of Our Lives, I believe a must-watch on the site, Ben-Hur, and Roman Holiday. I mean, Wyler out of this week has the most prestige for sure, and granted, more runway, but unfortunately for our next two ones, the 70s one and the 92 one, they don't really come from good directors, and those directors really don't have a single claim to fame besides this, so... Wuthering Heights 1939 is a refined period piece that benefits from its classical shell, but maybe in ways that loses some of that gothic theming to the title estate. This only depicts half the story, as will become a trend, and I'll tell you when that's not the trend, and when it becomes the trend again. Wuthering Heights is now a cold, uncaring ghost of a home, once a loving family household, the Earnshaws owning the property, and in that property, its siblings Kathy and Hindley for many, many years growing up. The family's dynamic, however, is shifted when the father brings home a gypsy beggar out of charity, given a promising new life and the name Heathcliff. Once out of the father's sight, he is reduced to no more than a slave for the estate. Heathcliff, however, wants to run away with his true love, Kathy, but Kathy just wants to live a life of luxury that he could never even dream of providing for her. In this depiction, Kathy seeks out romance not for love, but for what charms and wealth can provide for her life, barely even considering her true feelings for Heathcliff. And if there is a cliche to give to all these movies, and maybe even born from the novel itself, revenge is a dish best served cold. After Heathcliff disappears for a spell, only to return mysteriously affluent, he is more than ready to pay back all of his mistreatment. This is one where I think our Hitchcock study has come in handy to place a few faces to names. Mm-hmm. Heathcliff is played by Laurence Olivier, who we saw in Rebecca from 1940, a phenomenal movie. Kathy is played by Merle Oberon, who we saw in The Lodger from 1944. I think my biggest praise for these two acting performances, being a little bit older, is that they are kind of masters of eye acting. I really did appreciate, the pangs of jealousy that is so central to this story are really played out, in kind of a quiet agony. It was nice seeing kind of some refrained acting with this, especially compared to our new one where it's just like so melodramatic, so blown up. And so almost like reality show at times.
Yeah.
This is double-edged, however. I think on a positive, the reserve and the refinement of this adaptation feels realistic for the period drama and kind of doesn't hold your hand in peeling back the complexities of our character. I think Kathy is a great example of that, being probably the most problematic out of all these adaptations, but not really highlighted as that. You kind of have to just kind of, discover that as you're watching. On the negative, however, especially after having all of these under my belt, the story of Wuthering Heights is messy and filled to the brim with complicated jealousy that often shifts which character is the antagonist, which character is the aggressor. With such great lead performers here, there is a desire in me that I wanted some more theatrics. I wanted some more drama to their performances where it was just so reserved otherwise.
Yeah, it was a little bit more, I don't want to say dusty. I mean, we're talking about an older film.
Yeah.
But
I feel that.
Yeah, it did feel so much of these just felt so much like a play. And you're watching definitely just classical acting, which is great, but stiff.
Yeah.
In my opinion, a little stiff.
Absolutely. I think Laurence Olivier, we're kind of getting to know his acting style. Obviously, he's like much bigger as a stage guy.
Yeah, big Shakespeare guy.
Yeah. But there's something there. I was just like, I'm kind of looking for the top Laurence Olivier performance, like where it's like, okay, he deserves the legend. You know what I mean?
We have you go back to these old movies. We have so much work to do.
Yeah.
Was for some of these old school guys. It's crazy.
Right. I know, and it's what we always comment on of just like they are working actors, like they don't stop.
Right. Yeah, that's the way it was back then.
A lot of shit. I will say this was shot beautifully and had super dramatic lighting that I feel like makes black and white worth checking out in modern day. Those beams of light on characters' faces, the theatrical lightning strikes outside, possibly those qualities can make up like what you're saying. Like it feels a little dusty, it feels a little like even cartoonish. But I was digging them because what better time to use them when adapting the gothic romance novel? Like it felt like Addams Family tricks used on screen, but I was like, but this is like appropriate. This is what Addams Family is kind of spoofing on in ways.
That's the thing. It did feel super appropriate.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's just funny that this was made, 80 some years after the novel.
Yeah.
And then here we are, almost kind of around that much time has passed, watching it in present day.
Yeah.
But the movie feels old, and yet the movie is still trying to be way older.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's something, I like that. It's an interesting experience watching it in 2026, seeing them try to adapt something that's just as old for them that this film is for us.
That's a great point.
You know?
Absolutely.
And that the look of the house, that feel, is just like, well, did other people's house look like that in 1939? Are they really gussying it up? Or are they trying
what's
to do...
going on here?
I mean, this was definitely the creepiest vibes.
Yes.
Of Wuthering Heights of itself for itself.
Yeah. I did find, I don't know, it was because everything was... so old-timey, so refined. Laurence Olivier alone, he doesn't feel like a slave boy turned gentleman. He's just gentleman out of the gate.
Yes. Yeah.
So I did find like a weird critique to this one. It was like the differences between the two estates were kind of hard to tell sometimes for me. I mean, this is also like I gotta cut the film some slack because it's just such a different objectives. There's so many different objectives even to the romance of this and even the adaptation piece. I mean, the steamiest line we get in this movie is, "I shall let you hold my hand underneath my fan." And you know what I mean? Like, that's where it's like, all right, the visuals are picking up a lot more than like the romance for me here.
Real question.
Yeah.
Because these films are so set up in their specific locations.
Yeah.
We have Wuthering Heights, that we then have Very Nice Estate from the Linden. Lintons?
Yep.
Like the T.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was Linden with a D.
No, it's Lintons. Yeah. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
Who gives? We certainly don't.
Right. And then in between them and around, we have English countryside.
Yes.
So just the way it's shot, I want you to, between 0 and 10, rate how you felt about the English countryside on all these films. On all the ones. So how did you like the exterior shots? Did you feel there? Did you like the look of it? Did you like the style?
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean,
actually,
believe it or not, the only one that sticks out is... I want to say the 92 one because it was like really like craggly rock. It was
rocks.
like break your ankle, break your neck.
But there were some cool looking rocks in this one.
Yeah.
There were some cool looking ones and actually in the 71.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I thought. If you had to rate
like,
them.
Yeah, if I had to rate, like, would I go for a walk in the moors?
No, just exterior shots, how it enhanced the film.
Oh, how to enhance? This one, I'll say as a baseline, I'll give it maybe a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
5.5. Good.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, kind of on that note, let's talk about some of the beef with the adaptation itself. For the most part, this does lay a good baseline, and for being like the first big movie adaptation, fans are pretty attached to this one, but it's far from perfect. This still has the issue where only half the story is told, but still tries to incorporate the very tail end of Heathcliff's story for our conclusion, so a little awkward and unearned in fans' eyes. My biggest problem, why is Kathy just like an absolute asshole in this? I mean, like, Kathy is a character that is very complicated, and we will see across all of these movies, all these 4 movies, how empathetic they make Kathy are oftentimes the biggest shift to how we're illustrating the story. Here, man, she was Merle.
Well, I think she's very spicy in the new one.
Yeah, right.
I think so.
This was a pettiness I just didn't expect.
Okay.
Like total like turn off of this character. I think like what's interesting, or at least what I found interesting in Wuthering Heights over the week, was that this is a story about how jealousy complicates characters, and often how that shifts them into villainous acts, even if they're the good guy, or being the aggressor when it should just be a romance. That's the real depth of the story that all of these attempt, but. Man, this one here, I just hated this version of Kathy.
Okay, but that's a very good note.
Yeah,
that's a very good note. I got to tell you, that one of the frustration things I have in life and when I watch things, and this has it to the nines, it's just like basic communication issues.
Yeah, right.
And if Heathcliff and Kathy just had some better communication together,
all solved.
Problem solved.
So true. So true. And I get that. I mean, that is a frustrating aspect of like bullshit romances where it's just
a
like,
little bit.
Like talk and we're good.
Thank you. Exactly.
Like, chill
but
out.
that's also the will they want. I mean, when I was in the theater watching this by myself, there was mostly women in the theater, and they love that. They love. I definitely had a little bit of chatter in my theater.
Agonizing romance to it.
Yes.
Where we can't probably get down on it on that level, but I think again that's where I was appreciating it. I like how messy it gets on the jealousy angle of where like.
Both sides.
Yeah, it shifts characters in and out of being the antagonist, and I think that has a lot of depth. That's more depth than even some of these adaptations achieve, but at a source, that's more depth than your average pulp romance novel.
Yeah.
That this is the grandfather of basically, but we got a lot more to talk through though. With that said, we're going to go ahead and give Wuthering Heights 1939 a 68.
A 68%. Wow, that was pretty good, actually, Vin. I really do think at some point we're going to have a 39 special. And even though, like, for instance, we did cover Stagecoach already.
Yep.
But even if we just do a quick review of it.
Sure.
I can
or even splice it in.
I can cut, right, exactly.
Yeah,
I can cut back to it. I want to test this year because I haven't even seen I've never seen Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And that's 1939 as well.
Gives us another chance to shit on what's his face.
Oh, stop! We don't shit on.
Oh no,
we're buddies now. We're buddies now.
Okay.
Hey, don't say we. I don't. You got a mouse in your pocket? Don't say we. But for folks that don't know, oftentimes 1939 is very much considered
one of the greatest years
in film history, and I would just like to test that. I know some people I want to say, was it 77? No, not in the 90s, definitely. Some people pick out 94.
Yep.
But, very interesting. I would always like to go through those. But last week you said, let's see if this will be a feather in the cap for 1939. I don't think this is on the Mount Rushmore.
No, definitely not.
But top 10 in 1939 could be.
Yeah, it could be. And ultimately not a bad movie. I couldn't say this was like a horrible movie.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot to appreciate about it in ways that stand out to me of worth watching in modern day.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not all that connected to the story, I would agree with that. Okay, let's go on to 1970, directed by Robert Fuest.
Yeah, that's as good as I'm going to get.
That's exactly
West?
right.
Yeah.
So, again...
How about get a new name? Maybe get a better career.
Same duration. Hour and 44 minutes. Timmy Dalton, a very young Timmy Dalton.
Yeah.
One of his first roles, I believe. Mm-hmm. Let's get into it. You jump into this Wuthering Heights. What's the same? What's the different? How do we like our actors, our storytelling? Get into it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you my prediction that this would be my favorite was way wrong.
I said this would be the worst one, just for the record.
And you were right.
You thought this was going to be the hottest.
No. This was the most problematic. This was this is potential cancel material. Our director, Robert Fuest, or whatever his name is, he just does a lot in the TV space, and sadly does not have a real hit to his name. And I don't mean to, overly shit on this guy, but I feel like that is somewhere in the DNA of a TV production, even though this wasn't, and ultimately why we stayed away from tackling, the huge amount of TV productions for this.
Yeah.
Where just something about it is it's lacking in a lot of areas, and this one especially is lacking in its adaptation piece. When it comes to fan beef with adapting the story, this clearly stands out as the very worst. Even against the new release this week that has Bronte fans in a tizzy, this adaptation makes choices that simultaneously cheapens and then hollows out a lot of the romantic complexity to the story, and instead just kind of, I don't know, it serves as a very 70s, almost, I'd put it in a weird way, like a blaxploitation special. It's just low quality. It's just you can tell they kind of cranked this one out, which is not great.
I felt it by the trailer when I watched it last week.
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Yeah. Wuthering Heights 1970 is a muddy and grimy period piece that focuses mostly on revenge, even over the romance and the kind of the flavoring of jealousy in that romance at times. Once again, it only focuses on the first half of the story, but much like our new release, this makes drastic changes to the foundation of the story to eventually do its own thing later on in the arc. The beats are mostly the same. The Earnshaws take in a young gypsy boy that they name Heathcliff, who becomes the childhood love of Cathy, while also the vexing competition to her brother Hindley. This time around, though, when Wuthering Heights transitions from the father to Hindley, his cruelty towards Heathcliff is clocked up to depict absolute villainy in an effort to lay down the groundwork of a heavier revenge spin that this adaptation aims to have. Cathy and Heathcliff still grow up together, destined to fall in love, but when Cathy becomes interested in the affluent Edgar Linton, she doesn't only... It's probably the worst part about this. She's only interested in Edgar not because she's swooned by a new life.
His wealth,
right.
Yeah.
She does so in a nonsense financial scheme to steal his money to eventually bring it back to Heathcliff.
Oh, that really changes things.
Yeah, I feel like
Is
it's
that
done...
the book or no?
No,
okay,
no.
Okay.
I also think there's a disconnect of Cathy as a character, and also 1985 they weren't thinking about financial schemes like this.
1970, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
18, yeah, that's what I mean.
1840s.
1840s. They weren't thinking about financial schemes like this. You know what I mean?
No, that's not necessarily true.
Okay, all right, but it's still wild. It's an attempt to make her ultra empathetic to always secretly on Heathcliff's side, where not really the point.
Oh,
of the
but
story.
the most conniving and almost the biggest bitch out of all these four films, actually.
Exactly.
Because the thing about Linton...
Kathy does not come out clean in any of these.
No. Because the thing about Linton is you almost feel bad for Linton because all he's just a normal, wealthy guy who sees this beautiful woman, and then the woman is kind of swooned, kind of not. He just was just like, are you okay? Like, are we good? Can we just be good? I'll give you everything. And then, because he's just clueless about the Heathcliff angle. The financial thing is very interesting, though.
It's wild. It's thrown in as a line for, like, why she's going with it. It's just like, wow, that just, no.
Can I ask a very potentially dumb question?
Sure.
Considering I watched like 2.5 of these movies.
Okay.
The character of Hindley.
Yeah.
You've now mentioned that's her
brother.
Is he in the new one?
No. Completely missing from the new one.
Okay, all right.
In the new one, we'll talk about...
like, oh my God, what was I watching?
Where's that guy? In the new one, they basically, and again, the almost endless controversy around the new one from fans and people on the internet, Hindley is basically kind of rolled up into just his father in the new one.
Oh, okay. Okay, Hindley is the asshole.
Yes.
That is mean to...
Heathcliff.
Little Heathcliff and sometimes Kathy.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Yeah, because the father is depicted as only generous for most of these. He brings in a beggar off the street into his family, even though he's, he doesn't have money or anything like,
except for the new one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, unreal. And if there's anyone that gets screwed across the board, it's Edgar Linton. I mean, this man is...
You're right, you kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying, like, nice guys finish last, but... Boy, does Edgar finish last. Our dear old boy doesn't see things the way that Kathy sees it. So when, once again, he returns to England mysteriously rich, it is all to serve his own plans to dismantle the lives that ruined his own.
I believe the book is very revengey, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
Because
jealousy is like the number one word for it.
Yes. Well, but the big thing is, I think, with the Emerald Fennel push and the marketing between this one is you're going to see a hot and steamy romance. Not that that's a zero factor.
Right.
But revenge is a much bigger part of it.
Yes.
Which obviously is it's got more teeth for you and I, at least,
Yeah,
interest-wise.
yeah, absolutely. This version was much more somber, more tied into that vengeance and jealousy than most of this week. But it all comes off melodramatic. And again, I sadly point to our director just working in TV as a problem. I'm not trying to just like needlessly cut the guy.
Well, listen, TV movies were bigger back then.
Yeah.
In fact, you saying it, I wrote it down, just you saying that there's multiples of them, of this story. I would love to do a TV movie special because
right.
Look at our guy George C. Scott.
Yeah,
does a ton of TV movies.
Yes,
and some of them rated kind of high.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of these older talents in their later years, they just kind of end up in TV movie land. And
TV movies seems like they kind of die out in the 90s. Now we covered the It TV movies, correct? So they did have
or
more...
at least on the site. I don't think on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They did have more punch back then because if you think about TV movies in 2010, even 2015, this is like Hallmark Channel stuff.
Yeah.
But back then, there was something to it. But you're right. This guy is not known for great directing hits, great theater watches. He is not known for that.
Exactly. And
it shows in production quality.
It really does. It shows here. I mean, there's something really lacking here. I think a great example for comparison is in the very first introduction when the father brings home Heathcliff. It's filled with harsher gypsy slurs thrown out. There's more tie-in to personal beef, and all of it feeling just crammed to lay the groundwork for the later story. In ways, I could imagine the goal in adapting this film, or adapting this story for this film, was to just make a satisfying pulp crowd pleaser. And in ways, you could see that as kind of suiting for the novel that is the grandfather to pulp romance in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, though, most of this just feels like characters often behave like they know the twists and turns coming to their arc. And again, it just comes off as amateur hour on this thing. So... one thing I did appreciate was some of the financial hardship felt within the Earnshaw estate in Wuthering Heights, or at least how it lacks refinement. Anna Calder Marshall plays Kathy in this. Kathy running away to what she thinks is a dream life, despite knowing her true love, that's something that the audience has to feel. You have to sell that to the audience. That's not a given. And I feel like one small, sliver of good to this film is that the poorness, the lack of refinement, it helps create a life worth kind of turning your back on in some sense. You kind of understand, or it's just like, all right, well, who would want to live at Wuthering Heights? You know, there's
sure.
a realisticness to it. On the other hand, it feels absolutely ridiculous how they layer Kathy's personality in this. She goes from like a wild child to lap of luxury in the course of like 6 weeks when she spends times with the Lintons. Basically like a new character altogether when she comes back. And again, there is a tone-deaf decision in the romance. I mean, probably the most tone-deaf decision in all these adaptations. It's revealed the reason that Kathy agrees to marry Edgar is to openly steal his money or to put it in a fund for Heathcliff to get. Heathcliff is not briefed on this scheme at all.
He's already jumped town, right?
Exactly. He already heard that he's married. He's on the run.
Yeah.
Or that she agreed to the marriage or the proposal. And it's just like, well, if he's not cued in on that, if he's not on the team, Kathy, then you're kind of just like an agent of chaos. You know, you're not really a brilliant criminal mastermind on this.
Yes, she is the Joker.
It's just
and then Timothy Dalton comes back after 5 years and says, "I'm vengeance."
Yeah, for real.
That's what I'm saying. Communication, folks.
Yes.
How important? Like, if you get to walk away with anything,
right?
You know?
Maybe the lesson for all relationships, communication. For certainly gothic romance.
But I see what you're saying. A very weird angle.
Yeah, it's odd.
Logic is skipping on things. Yeah.
Unearned. Yeah, just on so many levels. I was personally rooting for Timothy Dalton to be my favorite Heathcliff this week. Whenever we tackle the 007s, I'm kind of rooting for Dalton to be my personal fave 007.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know. I like Timothy Dalton.
Me too. Him in 1923.
Yeah.
He was great in that as a bad guy. It's great to see.
Oh, in the show.
In the show, 1923.
I didn't know that.
Plays the main bad guy.
Oh, cool.
Quite good in it. And then also, what was I looking at? You have to be familiar with this potentially.
Well, I love him in Hot Fuzz. I don't know.
Oh, okay, right.
He's the bad guy in Hot Fuzz.
There's an HBO show called Doom Patrol.
Oh, yeah. It's a DC property.
Okay, yeah. He's in 27 episodes.
Oh,
so he's a main character in it. I know.
Interesting. Wow.
Anyway, he's good. How is young Timmy? Oh, boy.
It wasn't happening here. I like that you also, like, at this point, you already tuned out of the 70s one.
I lost about 15 minutes in this one. I was exhausted. I mean, it was like I was exhausted. It was after midnight. I mean,
I gotcha. That is cool. If there was one to dodge the bullet on.
Yeah, and I knew it.
Yeah. I should have listened to you. This should have just been, a 3 spot this week. His transformation in the story is just way too drastic. He goes from like a caveman to 007.
All right.
The depiction of Heathcliff is a bit too when he's younger. I mean, again, all the decisions in this movie are geared towards revenge. So he's really given like a very crappy life. Definitely the biggest slave role of all these adaptations.
Okay.
He's dirty, doesn't wash, yada yada, all this stuff to make him empathetic. But then when he comes back, I mean, like, he is, again, like a criminal mastermind in a 2-year gap. It makes no sense.
Oh, it's 2 years in this film. Okay.
Most of the time, I believe it's 2 years.
Okay. All right.
But and granted, there's a degree across all of these. I don't think, even in the book, we never find out where he gets his money, why Heathcliff is able to go away and come back,
I think that's part of it.
With swagger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of this, mysterious unknown. But, man, wild. It was just way too drastic. I mean, he goes from a Neanderthal to, like, a gentleman, and it's just like...
It's too much.
Yeah, too much.
Do you want to get into that now as far as another issue that people have with these films is Heathcliff is supposed to be a non-white Englishman and some type of minority role. And apparently it's not said in the book.
Oh, really?
So you don't know if he's African American, and but apparently there's hints that he might be Indian.
Yes,
which does make sense a little bit.
Absolutely, just in the nature of
with the trading relationship and the East India Company and just all that what that went down.
Mm-hmm.
in none of these films, and I know is an issue to fans of the book.
Yes. It's cropped up with the new one in the
Yes.
sense of internet will definitely rile over issues like this. Casting decisions specifically, just as an umbrella. I will say all of these adaptations do throw out the word gypsy at least once to refer to Heathcliff, of just like that is the flavor of, the demographic of the type of beggar he is.
But that's like societal, social stuff.
Sure.
Not as far. There's something about being a minority in this very, the English rich people.
Yep.
Of that indentured servitudeness.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually like a caste system or something like that. Some go a step farther, and it feels like almost a makeup of that, where they say, oh, he's just very dirty, or the boy looks like a devil or something like that. I think in this one and the 39 one, they say that type of dialogue. It is vague, though. Where, and I'll mention this because the controversy is around Emerald Fennell's version of that, where that's being cropped up.
It is what it is.
Exactly. I can get behind some casting issues sometimes. The fact that none of these adaptations ever make that choice stylistically to have a person of color fill that role. I think like the 2012 TV series or 2012 TV movie maybe does. That he's like Indian or something like that. None of them do. So I don't really find that much beef with it because everyone, all of them are wrong at that point. So I'm not really like holding the candles.
No, we don't care about the book. So, but I did want to make a note of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we'll talk about that a little bit with the new one. I'll say one again, I was trying to root for this movie. I would say one type of slight variation here is that this is the only film to really lay out the financial dismantling of Wuthering Heights, and it was kind of interesting to see how Heathcliff comes about owning the estate. In general, I think Dalton, unfortunately, the worst of the week, and mostly just of how he's repositioned as a revenge character, just lacking conflict, complex feelings in the romance. Overall, first half of this, real boring, real cliche on this one. And even after that halfway mark, you can maybe enjoy this in some of like a hammy revenge way. I think it just really flubs the ending. I think this has the most fun with the tortured villainy of Heathcliff, but comes off as a completely different fan fiction version of the story. And again, something we'll talk about with our new release. It's really not a good sign that when at times this struck a so bad it's good quality to me. Again, kind of like a blaxploitation. It was just like, this is like, did anyone object to any decision on the set, or they were just like, go, let's pump it out? Sadly, it really is the only version this week that I would not recommend. We're going to go ahead and give Wuthering Heights 1978 39.
Okay, 39%. Listen, you win some, you lose some here. So I feel like we're going to be all over the map on this one.
It is a little bit all over the map.
Good. Glad you watched that for us. What did you watch this on, by chance?
I think this is an MGM Plus it was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to MGM Plus?
I had it for, what was the previous 2 weeks ago? I watched something on MGM
Well,
Plus.
whatever. First of all,
I think I watched Crime Wave on MGM Plus.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
MGM Plus shouldn't exist, first of all.
Yeah.
When Amazon buys you, just put everything on Prime.
Oh, so true.
Whatever. I think it was on Tubi as well.
Yeah.
Finally started to utilize Tubi.
Get out.
I'm cool with it.
I'm cool
on more
with
than
it.
one occasion, I've turned on the Rifleman channel.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Oh, that is you to a T.
All right, 1992. I don't know if you were checking out the IMDb on this one, but this is Ralph Fiennes' first movie.
First breakout role.
To do this in 92 and then go straight into Schindler's List in
next
93.
Year. Yeah.
Who's
He's an industry plant.
Who's got he? Like, who's got him? Whose kid is he? Whose nephew is him? Like, there's something going on here.
Nepo baby, you're a really good agent.
This was the one I was most excited for. Saw half of it, at least. Okay, get into it. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Exterior shots in 1970, 0 to 10.
Oh, Jesus. I'm trying to remember. It's so crazy that you stuck this out, and now they're all blurring together.
That makes sense.
They're all blurring together.
It's a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4.
It's a 4. Okay.
All right, good. You're 15 minutes with the movie. Good, secure that.
Okay, Ralph Fiennes, our girl Juliette Binoche, or Binochet. For some reason, I always go to Binochet.
Yeah, I go to Binochet, too.
Okay.
I like Binoche, though. like if we were friends with her in real life, we'd call her Binoche.
And another cast of characters that I'm not very knowledgeable.
Yeah, I can't say among any of these there's like standout.
Oh, Janet
extras.
McTeer, the girl playing Ellie or Nellie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ellen Dean. She was in Ozark.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So there is that.
Interesting. Yeah.
But all younger, over 30 years ago. So anyway, hit us up with 92.
Well, yeah. If you look on this online, a lot of times it's referred to as Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. This definitely belongs to that 90s trend, kind of acknowledging the original author. I'll point to Bram Stoker's Dracula by Coppola or something along those lines. And for that reason, I really do feel like this had its most clear kind of period piece Oscar bait potential painted on its forehead. But luckily, this came out as my clear favorite this week, and actually really a solid movie I recommend. I thought this was slow at the times that you would expect it to be slow. This is the only one this week that attempts and takes a stab at the full story.
Which is risky.
Yeah.
And the question is it worth it? Because even I don't know that. I didn't get there. I got literally halfway right before it probably picks up in the last 16 chapters of the book.
Because you probably thought it was over, because that's where everything else ends.
I think these two work really well.
Yes.
Ray Fiennes still this young, first acting gig on a film. He has presence.
Yeah.
And I really like this version of Kathy. I really like Ben O'Shea's Kathy in this one.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot to love as far as performances here, but I mean, I'll go on to say it. Fiennes he has Voldemort energy this early on in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the fact that he then goes on to Schindler's List and plays, possibly like one of the most villainous Nazis on film. Like, just wow, really, really great. As far as this adaptation in 1992, it's a much darker and more suspenseful romance that puts the emphasis on the gothic roots of our story, and fans rejoice because it is the only movie this week that even attempts to tell the second half of the story, which includes a whopping 18-year time jump in Heathcliff's spiral of jealousy. This story is told in part also from Emily Bronte's perspective as the author, which I thought was an interesting touch. But pretty much the same exact setup as the first film this week, without the alterations of the last one we talked about. The emphasis here is on the tenderness of Heathcliff's and Kathy's early romance, really illustrating the heartbreak that will lead him down a path of destruction, dismantling everything around him. This heavy, heavy grudge that Heathcliff holds is what allows him to fulfill both sides of the story, though, condensing certain aspects of their upbringing to allow things to come full circle by the end in, again, the same runtime. The fact that this attempts both sides, or the full story, and doesn't break the 2-hour mark is crazy.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
With how much you have to cover.
Yeah.
So, Ray Fiennes goes through 3 transformations.
Yep.
Right? We have Gypsy, rundown guy.
Yep.
He disappears. He comes back a rich and wealthy guy.
Yep.
And then we have an 18-year gap.
Yes.
So then you have to age him on top of that.
Yep, and then he's older.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. And again, I think there is something reasonable in, I mean, again, there's almost no ceiling to the things fans pick and pigeonhole about these adaptations. Too much to get into. But I do see something real of just like, man, there's a really awesome story on the other side of this, of like, Heathcliff's story is not done by the time that most things close, you know? Juliette Binoche plays Kathy here, and we, of course, know Tom Daly, winner of The Taste of Things.
Absolutely, both of us.
Yeah, exactly. The overlap. Honestly, probably in the top 3 favorite moments across the whole podcast. I remember screaming, "We won!"
Yeah, got the daily recognition and the golden laces. Taste of Things.
Really great. Shockingly, though, this is the breakout movie for Ray Fiennes, and like we said, 1 year later does Schindler's List, and just wow, is he just like the best part of this version. This 1992 version probably has the shortest time establishing the childhood love of these characters, but is a total positive because I feel like we get to rush to our 2 adult actors bonding on screen. We haven't really talked about kid actors, and there's definitely kid actors in all of these movies.
Not a lot on this one, though. You're right.
Yeah. This one has the most, it hedges the bet because we're not rolling the dice on it. I would say the only one that is worthy of maybe a note is that in the new one from Emerald Fennell, we have the kid from Adolescence filling the role of young Heathcliff, which he's been on like a meteoric rise, since the Emmys and whatnot. I forget the kid's name. I actually did watch Adolescence, believe it or not.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. 4 episodes. I was like,
Thoughts?
Britain is a police state.
I'm man.
Yeah, my man. I said, what liberties do we have? They're in the school. The episode that's all in, this is a detour.
Oh, this is great.
The episode that they are in the school, I go, what is this?
I've never seen it. I've listened to podcasts on it.
It's wild.
Wow. Thank God. Hey, on our 250th birthday of our nation, you have something else to appreciate, I guess.
There we go.
How is not Stephen Graham? Who's the plays the dad?
Yeah, no, something Graham.
Something Graham.
Yeah, he's great. Especially episode 4. He kind of gets the final episode to himself.
Okay.
Absolutely.
10 years ago, I was just like, who's this actor? I don't know if I care about this
Yeah,
actor.
what is he, Snatcher?
He's in so much, and just more and more really like the guy.
Yeah, really, really great. Side recommendation for adolescents. Definitely pays off. And 4 episodes, that's where my skin in the game is.
Very smart grabbing that kid for 2026 Heights, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would say Heathcliff's depiction here definitely has a lot more of a scorned lover spin. Much earlier on, he's already lashing out at Kathy. You can see how jealousy really overtakes this character and overtakes any emotion in his arc. I feel like there is a small lack of transformation since Fiennes is just kind of so dapper normally. You know what I mean? He doesn't sell that early side of it. But I really appreciated just seeing how low this character would sink to for the second half of the story, and in a way that just felt so much more complete. They were able to set up and weave in little seeds and have it pay off. And again, in the same runtime, you know what I mean? I feel like there's some smart script writing here. I cannot praise Fiennes enough, though. He does an incredible job here. I mean, even this early on in his career, we get that Voldemort energy that makes him so infectious to watch on screen. And possibly, if each of these actors this week were given the same runway to maybe complete this character's arc, I might feel different, but without a doubt, in my mind, Fiennes was the best Heathcliff out this week.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And what about Juliet?
I think my praise doesn't stop there. Benochet, it's by far the best Kathy as well.
You agree. Okay.
Yeah. The characterization is so good because her love for Edgar isn't flippant like the 1939 one. It's not a financial scheme, nonsense, financial crime, white-collar crime in the 1970s one. All throughout the story, you can feel how her desire tortures her, and it's between what she knows is true love. She doesn't deny the true love for Heathcliff, but it's also a smart, grounded decision for her life. Her decision to go with Edgar feels realistic in a way of just like, well, what else am I gonna do? This is like a $1 million opportunity. This is the golden ticket. How could I turn this down? I feel like that does a lot to make the stakes realistic. Kathy, an empathetic character, a realistic character, just a kind of a grounded base for the jealousy to then birth out of,
Yeah, the realisticness of it. I just liked her genuineness.
Yes.
For her whole approach to the character. I thought was really good.
Yep. And listen, that's still, that's still complicated. There's a scene in the 70s one and this one where Heathcliff has an altercation with Edgar, and Kathy locks the door on him, and she says to Edgar, like, hey, you're going to fight your own battles, basically. If you can't take a punch from him, don't call the guards. And it's like, Kathy, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? She's crazy. But out of all the Kathys this week, Benochet seems to just balance that complexity of the character the best. And, she's not without those jealous flaws that make this character dance between, again, a kind of aggressor and victim, empathetic and antagonist. That's the complexity of the story. For me, this version perfectly balanced that, just the right amount of kind of empathy needed for that story. And yes, Kathy may cause the first wound of the relationship, but it's Heathcliff that takes it too far. One more bit of praise, and I was really hoping you watched this one all the way through, Tom, you specifically. I really, really loved the music in this, and I thought it was just profoundly beautiful. The score, how it kind of transports you into this period piece. I didn't recognize the name at first, but Ryuichi Sakamoto does the soundtrack here. Eventually, way down the road, he does the soundtrack for 2015, The Revenant.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Didn't pick
yeah.
up on that at all.
I know, yeah.
I mean, the music was fine. I mean, yeah, I noticed the music and everything.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just like what I was looking at his projects, and they're all over the map, But I feel like that alone was just like connective tissue.
Yeah, very
I
cool.
looked at it and didn't even recognize his name right away because I was just like, wow, this has a great score.
I wouldn't know his name.
Yeah.
You bought. I know. I have the album. I've listened to it plenty of times.
Yeah,
but not a name that sticks out to me in any way.
Right, even among the composers and stuff like that. But I would just say, I mean, the whole soundtrack, it is dripping in beautiful strings, like really, really gorgeous stuff. Almost like a great Alan Silvestri score. Not to nerd it up, but like it reminded me of like classic Star Trek and just like how that music is like beautiful and wonderfully orchestrated. I would just say, like, in all the talk of the new one where it's like Charlie XCX doing the soundtrack and whatnot, the main theme from this is worth a listen, and worth a listen on its own, even if you have no interest in the movie. Now, this is, one of the only adaptations to even attempt the full story, and I wondered just how could fans not like this version? Some of their issue is how it condenses certain parts of that story. Despite having much more to cover, this still clocks in at under 2 hours. Like I said, I think that's a positive for me. And smart writing decisions, big beef from the fans, to the point that they hate this one. So it's like, still not Bronte, I mentioned this already, that the childhood romance is dialed back down to basically nothing, but even the meat of what Heathcliff does to dismantle the lives around him when he gets back is glazed over quickly sometimes, and maybe could have been more satisfying, getting some specific beats. I also don't have the perspective of what might be messed up in that second half of the story that this attempts, which it does finally adapt, but that could have specific stumbles to that side of the story as well. I could not get that much in the weeds over it, because I didn't even have other movies to compare it to. So, in my book, though, this was the best, and really became the keystone to appreciating the complexity of Wuthering Heights as more than just another period piece romance. This one, I was finally able to, I've now watched this movie 3 times. And I said to myself, wow, I kind of get now that, the complexities of these characters, it's a story worth being told. Maybe not being told, dozens and dozens of times, but it is worth given a shot to adapt because there is so much to unpack there and so much complexity to the romance. It's not just another romance. With that said, we are going to go ahead and give Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights 1992 a 76.
Okay, 76. That's great. I think that's a great score. I think I bought this on Amazon because it was on sale.
Oh, okay, nice.
If anybody wants to check it out.
Nice.
I'm not surprised that this is great. We have 2 great actors, and I just think it didn't try to do anything overly flashy. It just tried to be it, and that's what I'm saying. Even with her performance,
yeah.
It just seemed real. It just seemed good.
Yeah.
She wasn't trying to overdo it in any kind of way, and she was just trying to be a real person in the moment with the character.
Yeah.
And I think Ralph Fiennes is just naturally just one,
Yeah.
a phenomenal actor.
Exactly. Infectious to watch on screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent. I am going to return to this because I would like to finish it.
I think it's worth it. And again, if only to see the second half of the story, or at least an attempt at it.
I'm certainly not going to read the book. Hey, folks, if you are enjoying the podcast and the daily ratings as a whole just as much as Vin Daly liked 1992 Wuthering Heights, don't forget that we are completely listener-supported here. We are producer-supported. We're not going to take ad breaks all the time and stick advertising down your throat. We're not going to have paywalls or payment tier structures, so you have to give us a certain amount of money a month to get access to our content or get bonus specialty shows. We're not doing that. Everything we have to offer, we put it out there for everyone. The website, the podcast every week, the news show, everything we do is right there for you. But also, does that mean it's valuable for you? Are you enjoying yourself here? Are you listening to the podcast, checking out the website? Are you into film more now than what you were before you found us? We look at that as value in your pocket because you send us value back in our pocket. It is the value for value model. That's what's keeping us going here. So you head to thedailyratings.com and go to the donations page, and everything is laid out there for you. But like I said, we're listener supported, producer supported through your monetary support. When you do donate in, you are an official legitimate producer of the Daily Ratings, because just like in Hollywood, when you financially support a project, you're a producer of the project. That's how we're doing it here. And since it's value for value, we don't force you to peg a certain number to it. It's whatever amount that you want. There's the big value for value button there. So is it a cup of coffee a week, a cup of coffee a month? Is it just once in a while? How do you listen to the show? Is it all the time? You're an avid listener? Or is it just a few episodes a year? What does it mean to you that we basically exist? Are you always having a good time stopping by and hanging out? When you do become a producer, send in a producer note. This could be questions, comments, critiques. Write anything in that you want to, anything you want to ask, or anything you have to say. You can email us your producer note at tom.vin@thedailyratings.com. That is our email address. Yeah, add to the conversation. We want to hear from you because it's another thing that producing is all about. We want to bring you in to the conversation. So if anyone wants to be an executive producer for episode 227 next week, hop on to thedailyratings.com and check out that donations page. With that, Vin, let's jump into the movie theaters.
I almost want you to lead with what the two shoes is on this. Are you giving it two shoes?
I did not plan on giving a two shoes on this.
Okay, second follow-up question. Was anyone hooking up in your theater?
No, I don't think so.
I had one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Hooking up?
What was weird? I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to get into some central topics very soon.
Just kissing or more than kissing?
No. There was some head bobbing.
You're kidding.
And what was weird was it was in the kids section. It was like in like the childhood
section. No, it's a movie theater.
No. In the childhood part of the story, the childhood row.
I was like, what is it, a kids table?
So is that Chuck E. Cheese? No. It was like in the childhood romance. I was like, why are you? That's
Valentine's Day weekend, baby.
Baby.
I have never seen that before.
Yeah,
wow.
it's been a while. I mean, it's kind of like an
crowded
old-fashioned thing, you know.
Was it a crowded theater?
Honestly, no, because I just saw this yesterday.
Oh, okay. So nobody was like, I'm getting security.
No. I think you had the spinsters that showed up on Sunday night. You know.
No. Yeah.
Clutching their pearls.
Okay. All right. So you were being a cool guy, and you were just like, hey, you guys do your thing.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe I'll just listen.
I don't care. I had enough to watch on screen. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, no. So basically, I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, it's all. I mean, I went late Sunday night.
You thought you were clear.
I just thought I was going to be the creepy guy. So it's just like a lot of women, a lot of woman groups.
Yeah.
People our age for the most part.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Well, they're all they can't wait to see Jacob Elordi. You know what I mean? So then I was like, oh.
And his gold tooth.
Then I saw one guy walk in with his wife, and I was just like, okay, thank God. There's one other guy in this theater.
Yeah.
And then there was another very big couple that walked in.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, my man.
They
ended up sitting right next to me, and then I was like, holy shit, I think it's a father and a son. So, and these two,
the singles.
These two would not stop chattering the entire time. And not just like, sometimes when people speak in theaters, because they think they can talk because you can't hear anything.
Sure.
You can hear, but just because I can't make out your words, the whole that just constant, I almost took my car keys out and tried to slip both their throats. I almost.
And it's not even a movie you care about. Like to have to, have beef with someone over Wuthering Heights.
Didn't ruin the experience like it did in Warfare last year.
Oh, yes.
That was a ruined experience.
Yeah.
This was cool. It seems like you were going strong with paying attention. Even when you had the, you had a whole other show going on. Yeah, Jesus.
Dual action.
You gotta wash your feet when you go out there. So anyway,
it was a throwback theater experience.
Give us your
an older era.
Very quick, just some homework here. What was your exterior rating on 92?
Oh, I mean, not only 92, probably my favorite adaptation. Again,
best exterior shots.
Yeah, and also scary. I mean, maybe it gets a lower rating on the outdoors because it's gonna break your ankle. You're gonna $1 million baby yourself on those rocks.
All right, so it gets about a 7.
Yeah, okay, sure.
7.
I like that you're guiding me through these.
All right, like I said, it's a half an hour longer runtime. That's bold. That is bold.
I mean, straight up, did you feel like it was pulling teeth long?
No, I was.
It did feel longer for sure. I mean, just the comparison game.
We had a lot of the kids. I was engaged. I mean, I was engaged with the movie.
Yeah.
So let me just say that. But before we get into that, I I don't know, just give us a backgrounder, your relationship
Sure.
with Emerald Fennell,
Yeah,
this director who's gaining more and more steam, certainly has a way about her, certainly has a bit of a style.
Yes.
Talk to us about her and then get into the film.
Yeah, well, right off the bat, we get our title in quotes. I'm surprised you didn't make a joke out of that, especially like Methregan and whatnot. You always seem to really zone in on those.
I just wasn't paying attention to those.
Because it's in quotes because of our director.
Wait. I'm really sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. I can't gloss over the fact that somebody was getting a blowjob while you were watching this movie.
Early on, too. They tuckered out.
Well, they weren't there for the movie. That they were there to be silly. But just like, was it close to you? Did you feel like you needed to get up and go away?
I was back row because,
Were they back row?
No, they were not back row.
Okay, well, it would be weird if you're in the same aisle.
Yes,
Then it's just like, I need to move my seat.
Right.
I need to,
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so funny.
Okay. It's just that shit doesn't happen anymore.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. It was like an older thing. Like, you go to movies to hook up. You don't go to watch the movie,
Making out is one thing, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, true. It's bringing it back. The theater's alive again.
Yeah.
It made its budget. This movie is in quotes because, in the words of our director, Emerald Fennell, she didn't have faith in it being a true adaptation. And maybe after understanding the fan base, I think that's actually maybe hedging the bet a little bit. She spoke about it being impossible to fully adapt the book, kind of interesting. And regardless of that admission of guilt, both diehard fans of the book and even general audiences seem to agree because this movie is being eaten alive. The ratings on this movie is shocking. People hate this movie.
I almost feel like we're going to do it a little bit more justice.
Yeah, absolutely. I was shocked by this because even though I've been openly a hater of Fennell, straight up.
Not a hater.
Yeah, a little bit of a hater.
Okay.
I don't mind her directing. I really don't like her writing. And that's kind of, where I'm positioned here. There was just something about this project that just seemed like a very big jump for her as a director, whether it be pulling the cast, whether it be the VistaVision angle, whether it be just like the scope of this story, whether it be IP, it seemed like she's now, maybe not in big leagues, but she's definitely at a different echelon of directors.
No doubt.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that style first before getting into some story changes, and there certainly are a lot of story changes. This version of Wuthering Heights can be called kind of a mixed modern period piece, much like Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette all the way back in 2006. We covered that on our Sofia Coppola episode. This, however, goes way beyond just adding modern music to it, even though it definitely suffers from kind of a music video syndrome at times in a lot of scenes. There's a lot of montage.
I'm glad you said that, actually.
Yeah. Going back to last year, Better Off Tomorrow. What was the weekend one that people were really dragging?
It was Ash. There was something. Was it Flying
out.
Something? Was it?
No. You're thinking of Flying Lotus in Ash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It was a contender. It was nominated for Houdini.
Yes.
So there you go. That's why we can't think of it.
Yep. But just this type of critique of looks like a music video and probably should have been a music video is kind of becoming a bigger trend. And it's a shame because I feel like in years past you just say, oh, it's just got a little bit more style over substance. Now people are kind of cutting films a lot more for that. Well, despite being looking good.
Doesn't she come from the music video world?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think,
but it is a thing that's happening.
Yes,
more people from the music video world.
Oh, for sure,
are stepping into Alton Brown. Sorry,
I thought you were gonna say Fincher.
No, yeah, but Fincher, but that even a director who we quite like that I can't even think of right now. But anyway, that's
yeah. But there's a degree there of like. Charlie XCX does the music here. I mean, I think there's a very solid argument that it is a music video movie. My thing, though, is, again, there's some big swings. There's some big swings that Fennell is just like, you can tell she is in a different league. Costumes, set design are all big swings, being conceptual and oftentimes surreal. We will get into that. And while I was watching this, I couldn't help but respect the hell out of Fennell's vision here.
Not the writing you were saying.
No, right. We'll get into the writing.
Okay, all right.
But directing wise, I was digging it. I think she is doing something, I mean, like, again, if anything, the epitome of style over substance. But I think there's a lot of cool things visually going on here, and visual storytelling-wise, that maybe don't have, like, on the surface, a narrative play to, Wuthering Heights. But after, again, having, 3 other adaptations under my belt, I saw what she was trying to lay down with some of these things. Folks, I think your reaction to this movie, however, is going to depend on a lot, and I mean it, a lot of personal taste and tolerance. But I personally just can't deny that Fennell has evolved as a director here, and that takes a lot for me to say. Again, I am an open Fennell hater.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah.
I'd say,
yeah, listen, you can disagree, because, again, there's a lot of problems in this movie.
I liked some of the style in this film.
Okay.
As far as props go,
yep,
and set pieces, I don't know if I love the way it was shot, and some of the props and set pieces. Other ones did look really good. I liked the use of color in this movie.
Sure.
With it being shot on VistaVision, I thought it was going to maybe look a little bit different, but there was times where I was digging it. I was digging the look and style of the film, and definitely, for sure, costumes.
Yeah.
She went all out.
And we talked about that. I mean, the first trailer we saw with this, we talked about that, of just, like, so many scenes look like they're trying to rip off, like, paperback novels, like paperback romance novels of, like, red sky, guy riding on a horse into the distance, or silhouette in a rainy corridor, people kissing. You know what I mean?
Some of the shit, I did not love that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Too much style.
Oh, yes. And just it had a cheapness to it. That's when I go back to a play and almost like play sets that would have been fine if you gave me Wes Anderson quality props and sets.
Interesting.
What I liked is some of the hallways and some of the rooms and some of the coloring that added to a scene. Not when she was being very loud with it.
Yes.
This is where I had issues. This is where...
And you could argue the whole movie is super loud.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe I would agree with you 50%. But I was back and forth of like, I like this VistaVision movie and there's some good things here. And then all of a sudden I kind of hate this. This feels too modern.
Sure.
Looks too modern, and also you don't need to make that sky look like that. But set pieces specifically, I was not digging.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that for sure, because I mean it's as I will say, the surreal elephant in the room.
Okay. Get into
this
it.
Movie. Wuthering Heights, though, in quotes, is a very horny period piece romance that dips into psychological and surreal more often than not. I would describe it as hyper-sensual, but not overly sexual. And what I point to there is that we really don't get direct nudity that often, even once, of our main 2 characters or main 2 actors that people are showing up in droves to see, possibly in that capacity. Through this, it also amps up nearly every emotion of the story to cartoonish heights. Many dramatic scenes aiming to leave your jaw on the floor in an almost like reality show tactic. Like it's really trying to be like juicy and get the girlies coming out to the theater. Honestly, it's the pieces that are trademarks, honestly, of Fennell's writing, that she wants conclusion first and not the building blocks leading up to it, are the problems here. And I feel like that's where I do line up with a lot of fan criticism of this movie. Story-wise, we definitely have the most deviations from the source material, even over the 1970s blunder. And some of them create just a big domino effect on the arc of the story. There is a huge emphasis on the childhood romance between Kathy and Heathcliff. That's where we get this adolescence kid from. However, missing entirely from the story is Kathy's brother Hindley. Instead, all of the evil of that character kind of being rolled up into Earnshaw's father, who is, has kind of a larger involvement in the unfolding woes. Additionally, Kathy's servant and confidant, Nellie, plays a huge new role in the story as a tutor in early life and grows up alongside her every step of the way. Sometimes this even shifts between ally and enemy in the way that was really exclusive to the romance before. But for the first movie this week to run over 2 hours, the story is all about rushing to one point, and it is the point that Heathcliff returns mysteriously rich once again, focusing on all of the hot and heavy tension between lovers that never were. I don't know. The story changes. I think Nellie's kind of an interesting character.
Let's talk about Nellie, because we haven't even talked about her all episode.
Right.
And she's a huge character in this film.
You're right.
At times, focus shifts away from Heathcliff and Kathy onto Nellie.
Yeah.
Now,
in weird, I'm not saying, no spoilers of like romance, but almost she is a triangle. She's a piece of the romance in like how she participates in how they see each other and shit like that.
Right. And that's also why I said at the beginning, where I believe the book is told through multiple narratives from different people, Nellie does get one. So in the 1939 one, Nellie does sit there and she starts and gets us back into the story through her eyes and through her storytelling. Two of these films, by the way, she's Nellie. Two other ones, she's Ellen. I believe. So,
didn't pick that up.
Yeah,
good
I believe.
catch.
Yeah.
Good catch.
But she's a very big role, and
much bigger than any of these adaptations, basically.
Right. Yeah. So it is something to note. I don't know if it was strong. I don't know if the performance was necessarily overly strong, but it might be a product of the film as a whole.
Yes. I think all roads lead back to Fennell's writing.
Yeah. Now, I want to touch on your hypersensual, not hypersexual.
Yes. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. I was expecting more sex.
Yeah.
The thing is...
Or just, we don't see a single tata. We don't see... we see more backs.
I, by the way, wasn't expecting that with this.
Okay.
I think Margot Robbie is at a point with her career, and she's so big, she doesn't need to.
I think a fair counter-argument, though, is that she's shown it all off in Wolf of Wall Street, so it's like,
when she was 23, and that could have been the weird CGI body double.
Oh, true, yeah, sure.
In the one shot. Anyway.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, and she was 20. She's a producer now. She's a big person. But anyway, so it's very sensual. You're going to get that. That's totally what I was expecting. I don't know if I was expecting all that much sex in this.
Okay.
Fennel still can't help herself. She does have a sex humor of like a 5th grade boy. And I'm a little bit annoyed by it. I think it cheapens...
Definitely teenage vibes.
Yeah, I think it cheapens the product of this, of the 18th century of it all, or the 19th century of it all. It cheapens it. It doesn't heighten anything. It doesn't add sexuality to it. It just adds like, all right, Emerald, like, okay, enough. Grow up. And just give us an adult picture now.
Sure, yeah. And there's actually a good amount of comedy in this, especially in the Linton sister, Isabella.
Her and Margot. I think Kathy is the way she...
Yeah, she's like bratty.
She is, and she can kind of turn her emotions on a dime.
Yes.
And which is
melodramatic.
Enjoyable to see. But that is Emerald Fennell in this. I do feel like she was pulling back, but her DNA is all over it still.
Yes. If you right, yeah, no, for real. If you watch Saltburn, it is absolutely on that same note of almost ridiculously horny, and in ways that are just like, oh, I wasn't like kind of on that note, but sure.
That's her thing.
Yeah.
But with her, and she will try to find it in everything.
Yeah.
In eggs, in this one especially. Just to give you...
Gelatin.
Right.
Yeah, wild. I would say, for me, we're going to take a detour from narrative elements, and again, definitely putting a pin in the writing piece, because there's a lot to unpack there. By far, the best aspect here for me were the visuals, because again, this has a production appeal that is entirely new from Emerald Fennell's movies. It is pretty insane how these sets are designed in the film. Previously, I already spoke, and I mentioned in just a moment ago that how the visuals feel like they wanted to capture the aesthetic of like paperback romance novels, paperback pulp. But I'm not joking. It's surreal. It is surreal. It is scary at times. There is so much here. Shit gets so wild. This is where I said your enjoyment of this doesn't really depend on if you like romance films or Wuthering Heights. It kind of depends on if you dig the substance a couple years ago or not.
Come on.
It's wild. The choices are crazy. It's so crazy.
Well, then it is going to... I'm on the opposite end.
Yeah?
It annoyed me too. It didn't annoy...
Oh, right. You didn't appreciate it.
Right. I don't know if it's me not appreciating it or it's more so just...
Not like it.
Well, what are you doing? I don't know. Again, if it was Wes Anderson in charge of this kind of stuff, I think I would have a different attitude towards it.
Okay.
But I felt like I was just on a stage looking at cheap-ish sets and with over-colorization. It was, and not all of it was bad. I was enjoying some of it.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that you liked it this much.
Yeah, I mean, I think visually,
And I'm not
this
chastising you on it.
No, I got you. And listen, this movie is divisive as.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have no. I mean, again, this is getting like 3 out of 10s pretty much across the board.
Yeah, unfair.
Yeah, right. I'm expecting this to be divisive. I think for me, taking surrealism and the way it's used in the film were just like so out of left field. That's what I mean. Like, you could say like, oh, it's just like Marie Antoinette. They're just putting some modern music on like a period piece. Sofia Coppola's.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I'm with you.
Or I'll mention it later, but like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I think this goes way beyond that. The surrealism is found in sets, in architecture, in costumes to illustrate some visual storytelling in the film. But it's also more noticeably flavoring this romance, flavoring this hypersensuality. And that's where it's like, it's weird. It's almost like it's kind of scared me.
When were you scared?
It was creepy.
At what point were you creeped out?
The fish scene.
So you were uncomfortable.
Eggs.
It made you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, but like it wasn't like, I don't think these scenes, I don't know, they didn't come off to me as sensual. They came off to me like a nightmare. They came off to me like we slipped into the Hellraiser dimension, you know?
Nice.
There's no better example than this, and you actually, I mean, I wouldn't say spoiled me on it, but I wasn't aware of this until you said it. No better example than once we get involved in the Lintons, Edgar making a, I kid you not, flesh-colored room for Kathy.
Oh, it's a skin room.
Where the walls even have subtle veins and freckles and match her pigment. That's what I mean as a nightmare. We slipped into a Hellraiser movie. This is crazy. And listen, I'm mostly joking about like the scary thing, but like I feel like the surrealism in the visuals, yes, they're done to achieve like this hypersensuality, hypersensuality, but like there's something there of just like, I don't know, how does a normal like couple go see this thinking it's like a cute Valentine's Day thing to watch, and they get something so strange?
Well, okay, nobody thinks it's a cute little romance film. I think people are expecting to be sweating at some point. That's what people want.
But not strange, not
right.
like, you know, unsettled, you know?
You're right, but sure, but that is the Emerald Fennel-ness of it.
I suppose.
Welcome to Emerald Fennel.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess there's a little bit more of a lead in if you've seen Saltburn.
Right.
That you're expecting some wild, some jaw-dropping shit. The suggestiveness of it, I just thought it was like, it goes beyond sexual imagery or sensual imagery. It was outright odd. And so unique in that way that I was kind of captivated by it. It achieves a level of suggestiveness that is extreme for how strange it is. And I mean, like, how can I call myself a Cronenberg fan if I can't praise this a little bit? It's a wild movie, folks. I say it in total disbelief, but I was a little awestruck with some of these design choices. Wuthering Heights itself is like a brutalist nightmare. It's nestled into total darkness in this like slag cavern. I wrote that line, and now I'm really regretting reading out slag cavern.
No, it's good. It's a band name. It's a band name.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fireplace made of overlapping porcelain hands. It looks like something out of Bloodborne. The father's alcoholism results in bottles piled.
It's so
to
dumb.
It was
like CGI bottles.
I was like, what is this? What is this bottle nightmare? I can always say, like, I could describe all these scenes as nightmare.
Sure, I could see that.
The adjective is nightmare.
I was seeing stage play.
Shit was nuts, though. Shit was nuts.
Yeah.
Really crazy. Balls to the walls. And there was.
You like the style of it. You like the uniqueness. You like the weirdness.
I like this big swing. I've said it with the Bone Temple review. 2026 year of big swings.
Okay, so far doing well too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but now that, like I said, I got that huge stylistic surreal elephant out of the room, let's talk about where this does fall short and where book fans find this like flat out unacceptable. The depths and the bottom of the barrel scores that this is receiving is because of just like how unacceptable it is as an adaptation of Wuthering Heights, you know, in quotes or not. Where my own problem is with our director all continues with her writing. You can go back to our Saltburn review or even Promising Young Woman. That's super early, but I'm on the same page. I think the biggest issue here is how new lines fail to mix with the direct quotes pulled from the book. There is some serious, thick, young adult, teeny dialogue here, and it comes off girly, and it comes off very cartoony for how it feels. Maybe on its own, it's not the worst thing ever, but it certainly, it's in an attempt to pull off the conclusion that Fennel wants, which he wants a juicy drama, tea-filled, catty back and forth, jealousy-fueled, these type of conflicts at the end of the movie that we get. But whenever a direct quote is pulled from the book, the flowery lines of Bronte's style stick out like a sore thumb in comparison. Let me be clear. The issue here is not with including these lines. I want the Bronte lines, but the beauty of that original writing is what made it the story a classic. Instead, it's how they highlight Fennel's writing as a modern writer, really paling in comparison, and in my opinion, a pretty bad one as well.
I mean, I think the writing wasn't doing it for me really much at all. The one thing I will say is I did really enjoy Margot Robbie in this.
Okay.
So when it's Margot Robbie delivering lines, I really liked seeing her on screen. And again, she can go from this attitude to this attitude. I just think she's an extraordinarily good actress.
Sure.
So her selling the lines worked for me. I think when you have someone who's a bit of a bore, a bit of a snoozer, in my opinion, in Jacob Elordi.
Oh, yeah.
That's when lines started to sell for me. The alcoholic father, the lines are selling. Or
not.
They're failing, I mean. They're failing for me. Because cartoony was coming up in my mind. Unserious.
Oh, especially the father.
And I did think, but even Lyndon, too. And then Lyndon's sister... younger sister, it was just tough to take any of it overwhelmingly seriously. And that's what I'm saying. With the set pieces and some of the scenery, I felt like I was on a stage or watching a stage play. And it was very difficult for me to be enveloped in a film in front of me.
Sure.
And...
there was no escapism to it. There was no you weren't kind of transported even to the period piece aspect.
And then yes, and like you said, the cattiness of it is certainly there.
It's reality show coded. Like
her trying to be 2026 a little bit too much for me.
It's kind of your worst fears with Narnia, where it's like it's going to be too modern, too upturning the apple cart, like you said.
It's interesting that you weren't digging the writing too much, but you were liking all the other stuff about it. Because to me, when I look at it and the music, it's almost like maybe this poor writing actually works in this world. But you weren't feeling that at all.
No. And,
okay, it was still lacking. It was taking you out of it.
Yeah, it was specifically like anytime a specific line is pulled. And again, it's coming from, I know which lines key in from watching 3 other adaptations. Right. It's not from actually reading the book. But
they like a sore thumb.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I mean, even Margot Robbie. I mean, like some scenes. This is really off the cuff. It felt like Austin Powers energy. I don't know why.
Wow.
This is half baked, but like I don't know. I got a weird whiff the one time she went into the scene. It just I don't know. It felt like a comedy fully. It doesn't.
It felt 2026.
Yeah.
And then she sprinkled in 1847.
Exactly. And not only this of just like, she's not a good writer in 2026, and we're comparing it to a literature classic of the 1800s. You know what I mean? It's like as far as you can get apart.
Yeah.
So I think that's my beef with it. Again, it's always my beef with Fennel's scripts of just like, it feels like she comes up with the conclusion and she works backwards. But in that working backwards, she doesn't lay the foundation.
It's sloppy and not intelligently done.
Yeah.
Not saying she's not saying she's unintelligent.
Well,
but I've heard this from multiple people.
Fans of the book are throwing out sharper daggers than that.
I have heard that you're not the only critic to be critiquing her writing, though.
Yes.
How it can all of a sudden you're just like, what is she doing now? Why is she doing this?
Yep.
It is a thing.
Not to over compare to these 2 other like remixed classics, Marie Antoinette from Sofia Coppola. It's pretty much just costumes and music.
I think there's 3. Marie Antoinette,
Yep.
like you mentioned. You have Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann
Yep.
from 96, 97.
Yeah, something like that.
What is the Jesus mighty? What is the one that I couldn't? Not the was it Own Private Idaho?
Oh,
That's loosely
yes,
Shakespearean?
Yes, absolutely.
Had huge issues with
it's,
that.
it's Macbeth or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely, yeah. But those type of things, the difference of those, if you look at all those scripts, they're using one-to-one, like they don't break from the period piece dialogue. The slippery slope here is that it's the mixed dialogue that highlights the old-timiness, the floweriness of it. And you'd think that'd be smoothed out just maybe in like the romance of this, but it's not. It's really not. The controversies do not stop there, though, folks. The internet is, again, eating this movie alive. I personally found some cute moments in the comedy with the Linton sister, Isabella. You know, I mean, it was unexpected, but it was just kind of like a cute character, a cute depiction of this character. However, the trajectory of that character, people have real big problems with, and I kind of see a little bit of validity to it. Isabella is someone that suffers in the stage that Heathcliff is, basically doing everything possible to get back at Kathy. There's a lot of depth of what that is pointing to in the book, and the wrongs done to her in the book, even back in the day, where they take the character again very wild. Kind of, I could see where people have like I'm never watching this movie again, this is unacceptable type of problem with it. So
It is a thing that's just thrown in there.
Yeah.
It takes you, it hits you across the face.
Yeah. It is Saltburn for sure, you know.
Yes and no. I can almost defend it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But the problem is I don't want to get into it for spoiler reasons.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because I think some people watch it just for what it is, but it's strategically... Heathcliff is strategically setting that up to sell something even more.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a tool.
Right.
Yep.
But she knows she's it, but she likes it, and yet there's another scene where she actually has some of the power.
Yeah, good point.
So
good point.
There is more of a partnership there.
Yep.
That I don't feel like enough people are picking up on.
Yes.
So I can somewhat defend the scene. However, the fact that we're talking about it, means it's a standout.
Yes, absolutely. Jacob Elordi and his gold tooth. I kid you not, he's got a gold tooth in this. I was joking with editor John. What if it was just like a dead tooth? You know, he's like this 10 out of 10 handsome man, and then he's just like dead tooth. You know, he's been center to the online backlash that we talked about a little bit earlier, where Heathcliff is not an actor of color. Again, just to make note of it again, despite him being described as a gypsy to various degrees, sometimes leaning into that more, sometimes leaning into the racial element more, sometimes just leaning into that he's a beggar on the street. And that it might be just like a way of referring to him. I just didn't find much issue with it because literally none of the adaptations try to live up to that. So they're all doomed. They're all damned. I think my notes on Margot Robbie playing Kathy, she's fun in a bratty way, but soon that changes in the way that the story will steal the complexity away from her character a little bit, especially when it comes to her dancing the line between empathetic and being the aggressor. Honestly, I think a lot of these issues are summed up by Fennell's writing trademarks, but one of the biggest ones is the inclusion of Nellie. Nellie makes this...
She's in the book a lot, I believe.
Sure, but it makes this AB into a love triangle a little bit. Not that she's ever like in the romantic running for Heathcliff, but there's a whole different dynamic there that I think, again, domino effect. There's it sets a foundation that's different and then changes a lot in a way that, again, fans are, unacceptable is the word. So, folks, it was pretty clear to me after watching this for... kind of what role the movie served. And I said it already, on the surface, it's a modern mix of classic literature, like a Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. And in the scope of that is either going to come off as, one, blasphemous because of how it changes the source material that is so beloved, or two, an interesting companion piece to the original exactly because of its different choices. You appreciate it because of the changes there. The biggest critique right now online that people are throwing at Fennell is that this version, it feels like a trashy fan fiction written by a teenage girl. And I don't exactly disagree with that.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. For new and old fans of Wuthering Heights, I urge you to explore these adaptations exactly as we did this week, because ultimately, all of these films are companion pieces. All of them are attempts to just give us a sliver of Bronte's classic novel. With that said, I mean, I don't know. I still don't have my mind made up on this one. I think we're going to give Wuthering Heights, in quotes, a 66.
Okay, a 66. Wow. All right.
I think it is
one of the most fair scores you're going to get there.
Yeah, I think it was probably a 20-point variance, and throughout the movie, I was really flip-flopping on it. But
well, I'll say after now my watching of it,
yeah,
I kind of like that score.
Okay.
I don't know if I would be much off from it. I think I might be a little bit lower just because the look, feel, and sets were not selling me as much as they were you.
Sure.
And at times I was annoyed by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be that. Everything else, I'm pretty sure it's on point because I didn't walk away hating it. I didn't walk away. The funny thing is I did walk away expecting a lot of it. Now, it is, I mean, for the 5,000th time, it is part play in my mind. It's part Taylor Swift music video.
Yep.
And a lot of it it was, in my mind, a sexy romance 2026 film. I expect over sensuality. I expect over sexuality. And the little jokes and everything in there, or the stuff that kind of bothers me about her and that kid, little boy sex humor almost.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but I'm not surprised by it at this point. So I think a 66% is great. There's reason to go check this out.
Yeah, I think
will
so.
say Jacob Elordi and her, I think, do kind of work at times. At times, they do seem mismatched. She does just seem more mature than him overall. It's not the biggest age gap, but there is an age gap there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of another elephant in the room with that.
Yes. Jacob Elordi's size and his presence, it's very funny with the transformation. He at the beginning, first half of the film, he is kind of just like Frankenstein, his character. And his reintroduction when he comes back, he's got serious Christian Bale vibes.
Oh, really?
Including a little bit of, he's got a Christian Bale lisp going on.
Oh, interesting.
If you were to watch it again, you would pick up on it.
Interesting.
I couldn't get it out of my mind.
It was that in the whispering.
But I really wasn't seeing Jacob Elordi in my mind. I was
really?
Yeah,
wow.
I was getting Frankenstein, and then I was getting Christian Bale.
I was just distracted by the gold tooth.
He did fine. You know what I mean? He did all right.
Yeah.
And then I did think that Lyndon was kind of weak.
Sure. Well, I mean, again, Edgar is, boy, if there's anyone that gets shafted.
I know. Certainly did get shafted.
Across the board.
So your favorite, let's do some roundup here. Your favorite, well, Nellie didn't play a huge role, but if you had to pick a favorite Nellie or Ellen.
Oh, I mean, I guess it goes to, I mean, I can't remember her name. She was in the menu. The
Hong
new
Chow?
one. Yes. It probably goes to her.
Or the 1939 one. The older one.
Yeah, true, right, because she does frame the story.
Right.
Definitely integral in some sense, but yeah, probably.
Who's your favorite Lipton?
Linton.
Lipton.
No, not Limpton. Linton.
Okay.
Linton.
Boy, I keep on messing it up. So it's not like the tea.
No, yeah, I said no, not like the tea. From the Lipton.
Linton.
That's
anyway,
where he gets all his money.
Who is your favorite Linton?
Damn. I will say, again, not trying to give flowers to the 1970s one, but the 1970s one at least has like some action he takes. You know, he calls the guards on Heathcliff. He takes out a gun a couple of times. Like, it's at least like, he doesn't lie down and take it entirely.
Right, so 1970 James Cossins for Linton. Who was your favorite Kathy?
Oh, that's got Benochet.
And then your favorite, and your favorite Heathcliff was Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go, folks. Vin, any closing notes here? Anything you want to highlight? Or talk about next week, roll credits? What do you got?
We can talk about next week a little bit. Next week, we are kind of back to the grind, so to speak. Going to be doing 3 new movies. Not exactly all crime themed, but I'm excited to see them all. We're going to do Crime 101. And as well, good luck, have fun, don't die. That's actually a catch-up from this week that we'll be throwing next week. And then the new release, if you will, is going to be How to Make a Killing, yet again around the block with Glenn Powell. So excited for all 3 of these.
Qualley, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm excited for him, too.
Yeah. So
okay, what is your rating on the exterior shots of the last Wuthering Heights?
10 out of 10.
Okay, all right. He's in the pocket. Vin, thank you so much. This was a great episode.
This was super enjoyable.
Wuthering Heights. I thought it was going to be a shorter episode. It's one of our longer episodes, actually. We had more to talk about than we thought. How about that?
Big novel.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Wait another 25 years when it's time to redo it.
We're going to
be in the director's chair.
Yeah.
Vin, thank you so much for watching all these, taking notes, and stopping by here this evening. Folks at home, we'll run it down one more time. Wuthering Heights from 1939 with a 68%. From 1970, 39%. From 1992, a 76%. And the newly released from Emerald Fennel, Wuthering Heights, got a 66. As always, it's a blast hanging out week after week with you all. We'll be back with a new show on Tuesday, and we'll have Vincent Daly right back here next Thursday on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. And just a reminder that the Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.